Welcome, everybody. Welcome to episode 41 of Game Changers. It's Wednesday once again, and we're back with another exciting episode. I'm your host, Carla, joined by my wonderful new co host, Hope. Let's dive into today's discussions and insights. Before we dive into tonight's episode, I want to take a moment to introduce my new co host. She is a fantasy freak, and although we've never met in person, I'm excited to finally connect at the expo next week. Alongside her passion for fantasy, she is a dedicated businesswoman who has proudly managed her own shop, Hope Jeans, for over 30 years. Hope, welcome to the family, and I cannot wait to see what this journey will take us. I'm really excited to start a new chapter with you. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Evan, Iggy, JC, and the TSA team for their invaluable support in providing us with this platform to engage with distinguished individuals within our community. We invite you to join us as we explore the lives and stories of our guests, uncovering their personal insights, experiences in fantasy football, and much, much more. The Game Changers is not your ordinary podcast. It has fosters a cherished community, and we are honored to share this journey with all of you here this evening. Hope, anything you want to add?
I am so honored and grateful that you picked me to be your co-host. You're such a beautiful light of sunshine and love. I'm beyond excited. We're gonna have the best freaking time. We are gonna party. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna just have the best time. I'm so excited. I love you.
I love you too. Welcome to the show. Hope, do you care sharing what we're going to do on the show tonight, what we're having before we talk to Bob?
We are going to give away a ticket to Draft Night Out. Bob is going to have a question, and whoever gets the question right gets the ticket to Draft Night Out, which is one of my favorite things to do at the expo. It's the sickest time. I had the best time ever. We got there, I think, at 11. I got Bloody Marys on, and then you're just partying. It's like I couldn't drink too much because then I was going to pick the wrong people. But it is draft night out is sick. It's a sick event. Everyone has to go. I promise you will all die. Freak.
The expo on all in all is amazing. So we can't wait. We really can't wait. So tonight, it's all about the Fantasy Football Expo happening from August 8th to 12th in Canton, Ohio. And who's better to have than Bob Lang hyping everyone for this unique event? This event is the ultimate experience for fantasy football devotees. People from all over will meet up to draft their dream teams, play flag football, engage in Zumba dancing this year, enjoy making connections, have fun with karaoke night, and much, much more. The Fantasy Football Expo is becoming so popular because it brings together not only fantasy football fanatics from all over, but families alike, allowing them to engage in activities they love and connect with others who share their passion and love for the game. The expo is building friendships through shared experiences and provides a common ground to attendees to enjoy some friendly competition. Bob, you managed to do all of this with a great group of people that we will definitely mention through this episode. You did this to connect people together and make a place for them to express their love to something big, something that became more than a competition for them. It's like a lively carnival where fans gather around to celebrate not just their shared passion for the game, but life itself. Hi, Bob Lang.
It's quite an introduction. Thank you. No, that was quite an introduction. I'm honored that this is Hope's first show. Wow, it's like rookie time. Like, this is great. Love this. No, thank you for being here, for having me here. honored to be a part of this. I'm glad you're using a picture from 10 years ago. Makes me look much younger. That's cool. I like that.
You're still
But no, I'm
young.
excited to be here. Excited that we're like 2 days away. We're 9 days away. 9 days away. Yeah, it's coming quick. In fact, I just came down from. So there's what used to be our old church, but we still frequent occasionally. But we literally I was just up the hill from my house, and we have everything laid out for the swag bags. So tomorrow my wife has 16 volunteers to pack the 750 bags worth of stuff.
Nice.
And holy cow, did people go all out this year on swag bags stuff. We've got Dynasty Football Key. Everybody is getting one of those phone charger packs. You know what I'm talking about? Like you plug in, it charges, and then you take it with you when in emergency. Everybody's getting one.
That's amazing.
I know those aren't cheap. So thank you to Dynasty Football Key for that. We've got Underdog football, mini footballs. We've got another little football. We've got koozies. We've got I know there's something I'm forgetting that's really important. Oh, yeah. So the the title sponsor, Fantasy Football Vice Network, everybody's getting a water bottle with their logo on it. A water bottle.
Oh, God.
Like,
That's amazing.
it's amazing. Like, we're going to have to do the water bottles separate because we don't have any place to stack all this stuff. I don't know if you saw the picture I had on Twitter the other day of my living room with the 75 boxes of stuff. It's crazy. So best swag bags ever. So for all you folks that got the weekend passes and got a free swag bag with the stuff in it, you're going to really be happy. So going to be a lot of little mini footballs flying everywhere, I'm sure. So awesome.
That's
so,
really amazing.
anyway, thank you again for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Of course, we are honored. We are honored, and we can't wait to the the expo. It's becoming really popular, and everyone is talking about it. And whoever you meet, they ask, "Are you going to the expo? Are you going to the expo?" If you're not going to the expo, you have to go to the expo. It's
Why are you not going to the expo?
Amazing. So
good question. Are you going?
Yes, people are getting like this connection. It's becoming a family for them. It's becoming a place that makes them feel comfortable, make them feel, important at some point. And they connect with people that they look like them. They share the same passion like them. So what made you think about that from the beginning? What made you start? And who helped you?
Yeah. So I started writing my consistency stuff back in 2002. In 2012, I was writing for a company called Roto Experts. Big site at the time, a lot of big names. Scott Engel, Jake Seeley, Dr. Roto, Adam Ronas, gosh, there's just so many. And anyway, so they're out in New York, and they decided to put on their own fantasy football convention, expo kind of thing. It was the first time I ever even heard of the idea. I guess it made sense to me, but I never really thought of it until they did it. And they did it in the Atlantic City Convention Center. So massive place, huge, but very expensive to get a booth, because it was New York, and I'm sure it was very expensive to rent out that place. And so it was very expensive, not only for the exhibitors, it was very expensive for the people to get in the door. The mistake they made was they also, in the back of the facility, had former Jets and Giants signing autographs. So, and they had a schedule, like the biggest name, I think Phil Simms was there for an hour. But, a lot of other folks, for Jets and Giants fans, right? And so what I saw was people bought the $90 per day tickets to get in the door, walked past all the fantasy booths, walked back, got all their stuff autographed, and walked back out. So I saw everything not to do for an expo. And I said, if I ever do one, it'll be very inexpensive so that anybody at any level can be a part of this. It will be very inexpensive to attend it. and it will never have an autograph session anywhere except for maybe Scott Fish and Gary Davenport and, Doug Orth, those kind of people, the famous people to sign up, but they'll do that for free probably anyway. And so that stuck in my head after that. Like, I saw what not to do, but again, didn't think about ever doing it per se. 2016, I did have the idea of trying to do something with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I approached the Hall of Fame and I told them my idea, and I just wanted to do a one-day, like almost like a conference, like various topics, no trade show booths. It was just that. And I would bring in the fantasy experts and they would bring in Hall of Famers, and it would combine and have a day. And actually, if you know who Sally and Don Kurjan are, you probably have met them. They actually came to that event. That's the first time I ever met them. That's the first time they got to meet Bob Harris. Bob Harris wasn't at that one. Sorry. So I brought in Mike Clay, Jeff Radcliffe, John Hansen, and David Dodds, who was then football guys. And they came in and they brought in, then Hall of Fame brought in Warren Moon, Anthony Munoz, and Chris Dolman. And we basically took topics, and I was kind of the moderator, and I was like, okay, what do you think of, these players? And then I go to the former Hall of Famers, and it was really a nice day. We had about 75 people. It was, a nice little thing. But the next year, the Hall of Fame wanted a lot of money to do that again, and I don't have a lot of money. So we didn't do it. But again, that still kept the ball rolling in my head of doing this someday at a different level. 2018 was the creation of the Kings Classic, which then kind of steamrolled into 2019, doing the first expo where we had the Kings Classic drafts, and then had the expo the next day. And that was our first one in 2019. And we only had like 75 people. So it was okay. We had about 30 booths. So, again, very inexpensive to get a booth, very inexpensive to get in the door kind of thing. But it was a good start. 2020 came and we did nothing. And I literally thought the expo was dead at that point. I didn't think that, you're not going to get a bunch of people together in public anymore, right? But, the vaccinations came out and, started coming out February, March of 2021. And so people started asking, are we going to do this? Are we going to have an expo? And I'm like, well, by August, I guess we all should be good. So so I opened it up. I said, let's give it a shot. If we get 100, 150 people, that. Well, obviously, the one thing that COVID did do right was kept us all in the house for a year, and we all wanted to get out. So 500 people showed up to the 2021 Expo.
Wow.
And then it just exploded. And at that point, the community got together, and this is where as you guys talked about the community has just embraced this beyond my wildest dreams. Like, I never thought I'd get to 500 people even in 10 years, let alone in 2. And so, now we're in the 750, 800 range year after year. And, people are like, well, it's not growing. Is that okay for you? I'm like, no, it's fine, because it's new people coming. And some people, I get it. Not everybody can come every year. I can be here every year because I live here, but not everybody lives here. So, but it's just fun because, like, this year we have 60% of our exhibitors are brand new. Never been to an expo, never been an exhibitor at the expo. So that tells me that, one, there's a lot of great ideas. There's a lot of people coming up with these great ideas, and they need a venue. They need a way to promote. You can put it out on Twitter, but who really does see it, right? Here you've got 700-800 of the, as you called them, crazies about fantasy football. You're going to promote something, it lives or dies here, right? I mean, we're going to be a hell of a Shark Tank for these people, because I know I've already have ones that I'm like giddy over. And, when I first saw them, sometimes I meet them at FSGA, but it's just exciting that there's just all this new blood and new people, and a lot of the regulars like Carla and Hope, and and all the King's Classic folks and Queen's Classic folks, and it's just so we just keep expanding, and people come up with ideas. I mean, things that you probably see that are being done now, it wasn't my idea. It was somebody else's idea. Like, hey, how about we have a Queen's Classic? Hey, how about we have a cornhole tournament? Hey, how about a flag football tournament? We don't do because we can't fit it in. But that's kind of how it all came together. And like you said, but the community just makes it so much easier for me. I mean, I don't have to even promote it on Twitter myself because everybody does such an amazing job. So God bless them all. And I'm, honored and just touched that, you folks all do this for me. And makes me work even harder to do the expo in the weekend for you guys.
I mean, we love you, and that's why we are part of that. It's like I said before, it has become a family. The first year I went, it was 2022, and I was hooked. I saw how everyone was approachable, and I made some friends. And 2023, I sat and was talking to you, and I was asking you, do you want to do something else? Like, do you want to do Zumba? And you said, well, bring it in. It in for, bring it in. My wife likes it.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
We can do something for, women, and it's women and guys alike. And I'm looking at it right now, and I look at everyone, like I look at Scott Fish. I look at every single one that's doing charity, like charitable stuff. And I'm doing the Zumba as charitable as well. So I'm learning from all of you guys. It's really amazing. The community gives a lot, and that's what bring us all together, as I think, to the expo, and what makes it so special. So thank you, Bob, for doing that.
No, like I said, thank you for everybody for supporting it. I kind of describe it now as a cross between a family reunion, a frat party, and a fantasy football convention all at the same time, kind of all rolled together.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of drinking.
I know. Everyone is talking about the Queen Classic. They're saying like they are so honored to be part of it. So
we have eight new members this year.
That's awesome.
So many had to drop out, but so many filled in, and I'm really excited for the ladies. They're they get the special privilege of drafting in the Pro Football Hall of Fame just like us, and right down the hall from Sirius XM live on the air. So I'm sure they'll probably get some shout outs from them as well. Especially since your boy is going to be in my room drafting against me. So.
No, I know. So how you pick the how you pick them? How you pick the Queen Classic per se?
Well, so the King's Classic and Queen's Classic, basically the goal is that we want to have each site represented. With they can have multiple people, like they can have two people draft, so in the King's Classic we do two different drafts. We do a snake draft and we do an auction draft, so we're there from 10 to 4, and I did that because I wanted to be sure that somebody says, well, I'm better at auction league than I am at snake, which I am, and so that was me, but I also felt like if you're going to be the best of the best and you're going to beat the best of the best, then you got to be able to excel at both levels, right? I mean, you can't just be a good snake drafter or good auction drafter, because then that's like saying, well, I'm really good at, driving the ball, but I can't putt in golf. Well, then, in the end, you're not that good. But for the Queen's Classics and the other ones, we just do one draft just to make it easier. It's a lot of preparation, a lot of work, but so we, the goal has always been for the King's Classic, basically between the three leagues, have every major site try to be represented. And then the third one, the third division, is half international. So we have folks from Ireland, England, South Africa, Germany, Mexico, of course, Canada, all around.
That's so cool.
In fact, this year we added our first female international, Hannah Rowland, who works with Murph and those folks over there. We asked her to be a part of it as our first female international. Now, I'd love to put her in the Queen's Classic. Probably kind of have to be here, but she was just excited just to be a part of it. And she was last year. I went to London, England for the Scott Fishbowl Live and their little expo there that they have called the United Kingdom Fantasy Football Convention, UKFFC. So I went to their thing last year in England and met Hannah and met all of them. So she actually is one of the people that puts that on over there with Murph and Dan Hughes. So I asked her to be a part of it because she was such a big help over there. So like you said, we just try to get as many people in from different spots, different places, and but always try to make sure that, we don't have too many multiples. King's Classic, we definitely don't have any multiples, but Queen's Classic, we have a few that may write for the same site, but it's just, not as many to select from as well. So. But yeah, so it's exciting to put that together, and I'm glad we got some new folks this year. So it's going to be a good time.
So how many leagues are you in?
Ooh,
like 100?
25.
25.
Well, so I do some best ball drafts. To me, those don't count because it's a one time.
Yeah.
But actual leagues that I manage is probably around 20 to 25.
And how many are dinos to redraft?
2 of them are dynasty.
Okay.
That's it. Everything else is mostly redraft. It's a lot of expert leagues that I was asked to be in years ago, and I just keep.
Oh, he's breaking.
Huddle has a couple. I'm in a couple with Doug as well that, we've been in. I think that's the Huddle that him and I have been in together for, at least a good 10 years, maybe more. So that's where I've met a lot of these folks, like virtually, not because Twitter didn't exist. So before Twitter, we just did online drafting. So I'm like, who's this idiot from FF Today? I've never heard of this dude. I have no idea who he is. Who is Doug Orth? I don't know. And in fact, the one year, I think I beat Doug in the finals. He was not happy with me.
So do you, when you're on football Sundays and you're watching all the games, and when your teams when you're losing, do you get in a bad mood?
First off, if I do actually turn football on Sunday, it's usually red zone.
Okay.
Because it's when you have that many leagues, you don't.
I know he's frozen, but I'm sure what he's saying is you're betting against each other, like you're betting against yourself because you have so many leagues.
I don't usually watch a lot of football. I might this year because I got this really cool new little box. But usually, if the Browns are on, I might watch them. To be honest with you, many times I don't watch football because I get very angry. And my wife gets mad at me for yelling at the TV.
Yeah.
So to keep my sanity, I usually don't watch. I mean, it's bad enough I'm checking the scores. Now, of course, I'm always checking my King's Classic because that's the ones I want. Because I don't have a belt, and damn it, I'm going to win one some year. But yeah, it's so many other leagues. I just kind of wait and check, maybe Monday morning. Okay, here's where I'm at. Here's the Monday night game. But I usually just look at all my leagues. Now I'm an accountant, so I work at an office at a computer all day. So yeah, just saying I might have access to that stuff. So that's how I pull off the doing that many leagues. But yeah, I find it fun. I could probably do more if I wanted to. Maybe when I retire, I'll do like 50 just because it'll be fun, but I don't know.
Exactly. So
that's crazy.
who are your I know that your whole consistency, and I totally understand that. I try to draft. I have some of my faves that are consistent.
Did you get a book yet?
I didn't get a book. I want a book. I'll get a book.
So you buy a book. We'll have extra for sale at the expo. Buy a book.
Okay.
and then I'll help you too if you need.
Okay.
Will you sign it?
So I want
Absolutely.
to know
For $5.
who are your guys? Like who are your
Who
guys?
are my guys? Like this year, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So this year, some of my personal favorites. I'm definitely waiting on quarterbacks. Usually Dak, Joe Burrow, one of those guys, or Jordan Love are falling to like round 6, 7, 8. So those are kind of my guys. All three of them. Jordan Love was amazingly consistent, especially second half last year.
Yep.
So the fact that I can get him and load up on receivers and running backs, I'm all for. Running backs, I'm not doing necessarily the 0 RB. I mean, I'm still drafting RBs, but I'm definitely usually getting, if I've got the ability to get Bijan or Breece Hall, I will take it. As long as it's not too soon. I will grab Derrick Henry in the second round if he's available. And then after that, I'll just kind of wait for the Alvin Kamara's, Joe Mixon's, Ken Walker's, something like that. Or maybe wait even longer for a David Montgomery or somebody like that, just because they're consistent and they're not always drafted real high.
He's my favorite. Monty is my
Monty. Oh, yeah. He was awesome for me last year. I had him in a lot of leagues. He was 86% consistent. Missed a few games. That's what hurt on the total point side, but definitely one of my favorite. Wide receivers, I'm usually trying to load up early, but,
Who's
there's
your
a
guy?
lot of them to choose from. I love Tyreek. Definitely one of my favorites. In fact, I'm picking him in front of CeeDee Lamb because I don't know what CeeDee Lamb is going to be doing. And Tyreek's just a god. I mean,
someone stole him from me in our dynasty draft today.
Ouch.
They know he's mine. He's mine.
Hey, how would they not realize that you should draft all Dolphins? I mean, come on.
And they took every Dolphin.
Of course they did. Well, yeah, because you're drafting in the draft. They know you're going to take them all.
I'm in a bad mood still. They took all my Dolphins in my startup today.
See, that's one of your first mistakes in fantasy. You can't be biased to your team. See, I don't draft any Browns because I don't want that problem of if they stink, then my fantasy team stinks, and that's a double no. So I don't draft Browns. And if they do great, that's fantastic. I always said I would take any Super Bowl for the Browns over any fantasy championship, even Kings Classics. But I don't know if it'll make it in my lifetime. We'll see.
Isn't Amari Cooper kind of consistent?
Actually, no. We call him the fantasy locust because he eats your team alive with inconsistency. Somebody named him, a guy named Tommy Moe. He's on Twitter, and so he kind of came up with the name. We share it. So I call him the fantasy locust because in the past, whatever team he played for, he's always 60%.
Yep.
But he's always drafted like he should be 70, 75, and he never is. Even last year, he was 60% again. So I love Nick Chubb. I hope he comes back and gets healthy and be able to contribute. We'll see. I like Jerry Jeudy. They picked him up. I mean, it all comes down to Deshaun Watson. I mean, if he can play at any level decent, I think we've got a shot. But, so. Jerome Ford. Okay, Tip. I mean, until Chubb comes back, I guess,
I like Foreman.
I'd say that's what I'd rather draft Foreman like round 16.
I've been taking him in every draft. He's a beast.
I don't blame you there. I think he'll get definitely more, especially goal line carries.
He could be like Jamal Williams a couple years ago, where they just.
There you go. Oh yeah, exactly. It could be. Absolutely could be.
And he's one of my guys this year. I don't want to say everything because then I'm going into drafts and everyone's going to hear me and they'll
all forget. They're all drinking. Don't worry about it.
They're going to steal all my guys like they always do.
So Bob,
I do a draft against all of my friends and they all have my book. I was like, it's not even fair.
You're
giving them everything. So Bob, what inspired you to create the Fantasy Football Consistency Guide, and how has it evolved over the years?
Turn my light on.
What happened to your light? I'm just intrigued by the fact that it's in the dark.
It turns off at, is it 9, 10? What time is it? My husband's
It's 9 on the nose. So yeah. You might want to reset that.
Yeah.
My consistency guide. Yes.
Yes.
So how that came about is, like you said, I started writing my consistency stuff back in 2020. By about 2010, I was having people ask me if I could put a consistency article in their magazines that they were selling on the shelf. So, I was like super excited. Like I'd run out to like Barnes and Nobles and buy the book that I was in. And it was cool. And so after a number of years of doing that, I was trying to talk those people who had the books like, hey, could we somehow like in the player profiles add the consistency data? So you'd have something unique that nobody else would have. And they're like, there's just no room. We have so much data already. And then, there's just a lot of stuff. And somebody said to me, I think it was 2014, 2015, you can self-publish on Amazon. No, I didn't know that. So I looked into it. And so the first year that I did it, I actually went to like a local printer and printed like 100 copies with like what they call that the circle bind kind of, like you can actually open up and put in pages and slide in pages kind of thing for like reports. And so I didn't sell it on Amazon. I just went and printed my own to try it out, see how it would look, work on the formatting. 2016 was the first year I was actually on Amazon. So like, 65 copies. I was like, oh, cool. I'm like, ooh. 2017, I did it again. And then Andy Behrens, who I was starting to get to know, said, hey, if you send me a copy of that, we can put it into the publication competition. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like that's going to happen. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll send it to him. So I sent it to him. I got nominated in 2017. I'm like, what?
Wow.
What? Really?
Yeah. Did you
okay, cool. And he loved it. He said, they've always just felt like it was, great information and unique information. It's not something anybody else has been doing. So in 2018, submitted it again, actually won the award that year. And now I've went 7 years in a row, nominated as one of the best. Still only won it once, but when I looked at, I'm competing against NBC Sports, CBS Sports, football diehards. I mean, in fact, I'm even noticed in this group is
sick.
A win for me. I'll take that every year.
Absolutely.
So that's how it kind of all came about. Somebody just said, well, why don't you just create your own book? And I'm like, okay.
So Bonnie has a question. Queen Bee Bonnie, who's in the Queen's Classic, wants to know who's your favorite underrated player to draft this year?
Jacoby Myers. He's going like wide receiver 45. And what most people don't realize is last year he was 24th in total points and 29th in consistency. So he was a wide receiver 3. Nobody's even drafting this dude. And I'm like you were saying with, Deontay Foreman, I'm drafting Jacoby in like every league. Absolutely. Because he's sitting there like wide receiver 4 or 5. And I'm like, heck, that's a flex for me, so.
He's been like that constantly. And
he always has been. Yeah. Right.
He was like on a waiver wire, just sitting there.
Oh, I can believe that. Yeah. Yeah, no.
Racking up the points on the waiver wire while you're putting these high-end players and they're getting like Garrett Wilson. And he's like, okay, how many points are you getting me? Jacob Myers is getting more points than Garrett Wilson last year.
At some points, I'm sure there was. Yeah.
So what methodology do you use to determine a player's consistency, and how do you apply it to different positions?
So the calculation is basically taking the average points per game for the top 30 quarterbacks, 30 tight ends, 75 running backs, and 100 wide receivers. That is what is said as the quality factor, the clutch factor, we call it. And if you go into the tool on the Big Guy Fantasy Sports website, the consistency report, when you click on edit scoring, so if you want to change the scoring, it'll actually show the clutch factor for that whatever is set up. Now it defaults to PPR. So for running backs and wide receivers, they're pretty close to the same. They're about 10, 11 points on average. The idea is that factor is the spot where the top 12 quarterbacks would be on a weekly basis. So the idea is that 12-team league, you have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 1 tight end. That the clutch factor is what that person needs to earn on a weekly basis to be in the top 12, 24, 36, and 12 of that position. So quarterbacks is around 19, let's just say 20 points, 19 to 20 points. Running backs, wide receivers are about 10 to 11, and tight ends are about 8 to 9. If they exceed that, they earn a clutch game. More clutch games is higher consistency. So then you can kind of see that is how that calculates out.
It's great.
Oh, that's really
I have
cool.
to definitely. I'm getting the book. This is
Okay.
late for some of my drafts, but I'm totally getting the book.
Yeah, get it Friday before you go into Queen's Classic. Then you'll all be sitting with the same book and be like, wait a minute, we're all using Bob's book. This is not going to work.
So what are some common mistakes fantasy football players make when it comes to evaluating consistency, and how can they avoid them? What can you tell them about that?
I don't know if they need to evaluate it. They just need to use it. I do the evaluation for them. All they need to look at is the numbers, right? If they do anything, the one thing I try to promote in the book is when you look at each player profile, take a look at so in each player's profiles, there's 3 years of the consistency data. There is a week by week from the prior year of how many, when they earn those clutch games on a week to week basis. And then at the bottom of it is another section that is their fantasy consistency and points per game against home, away, and then against top defenses, bad defenses, and average defenses. That spot that is the in between, or the one that is all about the week to week, take a look at that to see if they had you may see 50% consistency. Okay. But if the second half they were 75% and the first half they were 25%, a lot of times those second half people usually take that into the next year. I usually highlight that in the profile when I write up the little blurb, but definitely take a look at that. So from an evaluation standpoint, don't just like we tell them, don't look at total points. Okay. Look at total points and consistency.
Right.
Don't look at the consistency and assume that 50% means they're boring. Right. Because they may have had a great second half. And then also look at that bottom section to look at their splits. So for example, Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff were both of course, Cousins only played 8 games.
Right.
So he was 75% consistent, which makes him look really good. But both Jared and Kirk do really well at home. Yep. But they stink on the road. Yep. So I've told people, look, if you want to really be into late round quarterbacks, yep, wait and just draft those two in back-to-back rounds 9 and 10.
Yep.
And then every week when one's at home, one's not, or they're both at home or whatever, put the ones at home and leave the other one on the bench. Now, if they're both on the road, well, then, look for the one that's playing indoors. But that's a great way to kind of, utilize that data that you're not going to find somewhere else to help them, make that decision, because you can wait that long to get 2 quarterbacks and you combine them into a 75 or 80% consistency by streaming those 2. Yep. You're getting basically the same production that you would get out of a Josh Allen or a Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes that you have to draft in round 2 or 3. So that's the kind of stuff that I try to help push and promote to people. Hey, take a look at this. This may be more helpful than you think.
So that's awesome. So Bob, we're talking about the consistency book and stuff like that. And because we're almost 40 minutes into the program, I'm going to let Hope lead this next part because we're going to talk a little bit about the contest. So Hope, can you please talk to Bob and to our viewers and lead the contest for us?
Okay, so the contest is for a free ticket to Draft Night Out, which I told you guys, which is the sickest football party while you draft and drink and everything. It's amazing. And Bob is he's a question, and whoever gets the question right is going to win the ticket.
So whoever answered first.
Okay.
So get ready.
Okay, here we go.
Am I asking now?
Yep.
Here's the question. If you have the consistency guide, you'll know this. If you don't, you should have bought one. So last year, there was a quarterback who ranked 4th in total points, but his consistency was only 63%, which ranked him 12th. Who was that quarterback?
Okay.
And go.
And go.
See, we get our first answer. See, we get our winner.
See.
They're all looking to see the 4th in total points, which might be the dead giveaway, but nope. Not Tua. Good try, though. Nope. Which one? Actually, it was Lamar Jackson.
It was Lamar Jackson.
Yes,
so
great catalog.
So who got it first? Someone, the
But
first
Greg
one.
did.
Huh?
The
Someone
Greg
got it.
got it. Does he already have a DNO? He might be not going to the DNO.
No, but someone before that, someone said Jackson.
Oh, they did? Well, no, it was Greg. It was the same
Oh,
one.
was Greg? Okay.
Yeah, I think. JC can confirm, but I think it was
Crew said
Greg
Lamar.
was Lamar Jackson.
Jackson. If you're
Yes,
nasty.
Lamar, right? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Crew said Lamar. Crew 24
Yes.
said Lamar.
Yep.
So
Lamar.
I think it's him. Yeah.
All right.
I can
Well,
see it.
I'll let you guys decide on the winner.
Yeah. So JC will look into the chat and he will decide it.
You
And
can,
I
you
do
can
believe-
contact the winner, let them know who won. Yes.
Sure, a lot of
Crew
this.
24, I believe. I see that he was before Greg. But JC, can you let us know in the private chat who was first?
Let's see. We'll find out.
Someone should improve Jackson's mechanic.
So besides Tyreek, who we know he's consistent, who is some of your favorite wide receivers, your high-end wide receivers that you like to drop that are consistent?
I mean, those top guys are the top guys for a reason. So CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, both over 90%. Tyreek was 100. He missed one game due to injury, but he of course was 100% in his time. Like you said, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, St. Brown were both over 90%. I think they were both 92%. There's just a lot. I mean, the wide receivers are why people are buying or are drafting more wide receivers in the first 3 rounds than they ever have. From top to bottom, you're going to get a lot more consistency in the top 30 wide receivers than you're going to get in the top 30 running backs by far.
Yep.
On the other hand, that means you can also wait maybe for them as well, but you just got to make sure you don't let the running backs get out of control. Greg asked, do I rate rookies? So I do not rate. Well, let me put it this way. So there's an article in the guide because I always get the question, well, what do rookie players bring to the NFL from a consistency standpoint from college? Because obviously a lot of these players were amazing in college, right? And they're very consistent from a college standpoint, but they're coming to the NFL. And so there is an article in there, and I have tracked the first 4 rounds of quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends drafted in the first 4 rounds since 2010. Okay. The amazing stat is that only 11% of all of those drafted earn over 60% in their rookie season. So that means 89% of them do not.
Yep.
Hence why I don't usually draft a lot of rookies. Now, there are certainly special ones. Marvin Harrison Jr., special. Saquon Barkley, special. Breece Hall, Bijan Ra. I mean, so, obviously there are special players, but they don't always hit. So just because, again, somebody's drafted in the first round or they're the top running back drafted, they may not always. And tight ends are the worst. Holy cow. In fact, in those, 14 years now, 14, 15 years, only 4 tight ends have ever earned over 60%. 4. It's like 2% of all tight ends. And those are not Travis Kelce. They're not Gronkowski. They're not, TJ Hawkinson, any of those guys, their rookie season. Now, Laporta was obviously last year.
Yeah.
And Kyle Pitts was a couple years ago. And the other two were Evan Ingram and guy for the Commanders. And I just went brain dead of who it was. But anyway, from a while back, like 2012 or something. I can't remember.
Jordan Reed.
Yes. Thank you.
You got hurt.
So, like I said, so I show that to people to go, I'm not saying that rookies stink, and I'm not saying you shouldn't draft rookies. I'm just saying be careful. Especially if they're in a good spot, like a Marvin Harrison Jr., basically the main guy, now if they're a top receiver coming to a team that's got a top receiver, then it's a different story, right? They don't always hit that 60%. But the amazing thing is when you look at the list of all the receivers that have earned over 60% in their first year, their consistency moving forward blows every other position away by a mile. Like almost all of them have continued to be top receivers year in and year out. There's very few that hit their rookie season and then fall off the face of the earth. Running backs do. I mean, the Trent Richardsons and, those kind of folks that come out and have a blast of a rookie season and then just fall off the face of the earth. It happens.
So you think like Jordan Reed is
Jordan Reed, tight ends. Yeah. Like you said, they first off, they barely make it. So they definitely take more time to get to that consistency model. And tight ends aren't very consistent anyway, but but quarterbacks are getting to that spot too. Not every quarterback is very consistent anymore. That's why I kind of stress looking at those values of consistency, like a Jordan Love that you can get later versus, because I don't know if Jordan Love last year had a higher consistency rating than Patrick Mahomes.
Jordan Love was amazing. I watch every single football game. My husband's an AV guy, so we have like a projector, like
17 screens.
But we have, besides the projector, that we have even a TV on my refrigerator. We have TVs. We have two in the bathroom.
We have a problem
facing both ways. There's not a spot in my house, and there's a different game on all over my house. I am a fan. I am telling you, I am a football freak. And the upsetting part. This is the upsetting part. I love football so much, and it hurts me to be upset watching it when my teams are losing, that I don't get to enjoy what I'm watching because of how much I love football.
That's why I don't watch.
The fantasy aspect of it it hurts me. Hurts me.
No, that's why I don't watch, because I've done that and very angry.
But I do something now. I started this last year and it helped me a lot. I do not look at my phone. I do not look at my phone especially if I'm watching them all. I know if I'm losing anyway.
Yeah.
So I can look at it because I know what I'm seeing, on all the screens. Right. But I don't look at my scores. I don't look at it. I just enjoy football. I don't, it just makes it so much better that way for me because I love football. I'm obsessed with football.
I love it too. I just don't like my anchor.
Yep.
Okay. It's going my way. It's one thing. I always watch a bunch of games the first week, and then by 4 o'clock, if my teams are sucking, I'm like, damn it, I knew I shouldn't have turned this TV on.
So what team do you think that's going to make it? What underrated team do you think is going to make it this year all the way?
All the way?
All the way.
Okay. Obviously I want my Browns to do that. I would love to believe that, but I'm also a realist, and I've seen too many failures when they were good and they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl and then shit happened. I really am excited though. Here's what would be the perfect Super Bowl for me. Browns versus Lions.
Lions
is the perfect, because neither team would ever made it. They both have very rabid, excited fan base. I think that would be heaven for me. If the Browns won, I could just die, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good.
That would be pretty awesome. Yeah, Lions.
I know Greg's a Lions fan, so he's
Lions is my. Do you know what I drafted? I know people think I'm crazy, but in our dynasty, I drafted Amon-Ra above all the other wide receivers. I took him
don't see anything wrong with that at all from a dynasty standpoint.
Over
Not at all.
Chase and JJ
Yeah.
and CeeDee Lamb. I took Amon-Ra because, like you said, in consistency, what you said, he was 92%.
Yeah.
And did you watch receivers?
I haven't. I keep
You have
when
to.
the expo's over, I'm going to watch it. But
You have
right
to.
now, I'm sitting at a computer most nights till 10 o'clock and then going to bed. So yeah,
You have
but I
to.
will promise I will get to that point.
It's so good.
I watched the quarterback ones and it was really good.
Yeah, me too. But this to me, this is better. This is better.
Yeah, I like it because they also got like tight ends. They got like Kittle. They have Kittle and Kelsey.
They have Kittle. No, but
Just
Kittle is just. He just makes me so happy. He just makes me so happy.
We need to have a word from our sponsor, Drafters Fantasy. Go ahead, JC.
Here we go.
We're going to say congratulations. JC confirmed that Greg won, but I'm not sure if he's going to keep it or he's going to give it away. So it's up to him, Hope, at this point, if he's going to keep it or give it away at the expo. So go neck, Greg. He got the ticket.
Okay.
So it's up to you guys.
So he can
do that.
he could give it to somebody that can't afford it.
So it's up to Greg. So Greg won it. Thank you, JC. Thank you for our sponsor, Drafters Fantasy. We appreciate it. So Bob, we're gonna talk Expo a little bit. We can't finish the episode without talking Expo. So
I believe.
Yeah, we have a lot of memories from the expo. I mean, I was watching you last year, sitting behind you, and you were drafting. And I do remember you bought 3, I think, of your team, and you were out of money. So what
I didn't
was
go
this?
out of money. I had a reduction in money.
Maybe like $20, I think.
Yeah, it was a little more than that so I bought Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and AJ Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
I spent $150 on 3 of them combined, something like that, maybe a little less. It was like 47, 48, and 37. I thought and then I bought Justin Herbert, I bought Dallas Goedert, and then, Hope, you'll be very happy for this. I was like, now I have barely any money left.
Monty.
No, for $4, I bought this guy named Raheem Mostert.
Oh, yeah.
That team was just unbeatable for the first 9 weeks. I mean that because I was 9-0. I was running away with this league. There was nobody going to stop me until Justin Jefferson went out for 7 games. Joe Burrow went down. Jamar Chase wasn't as productive, and on and on. And then the season ended, and I was 9-6 after I went 0-6 for the next 6 weeks. I backed into the playoffs, but here's the amazing thing. I was still the number 1 seed at 9-6.
Because you had a good team.
Well, because I was 9-0, but I mean, I'm just
still had a good team. You still had a good team.
So I'm limping into the playoffs. Then Herbert gets hurt. So now I got to pick up whatever quarterback I've got available. So I pick up, wasn't Flacco. There was another guy that was, it was the guy for the Vikings who replaced Cousins when he got hurt.
What's his name? Hold on. Me too.
Anyway, whoever it was. So he fills in for a few weeks. And
Dobbs.
I want no, it wasn't Dobbs.
It wasn't Dobbs, the
was
other guy.
hurt.
Yeah.
The other guy.
Yep.
Third guy.
Yep.
Third string quarterback.
Yeah.
So the third string Vikings quarterback
Brunel.
plays.
Brunel.
And so I win. So I get a first week bye. So I go into weeks Mullins. That's it.
Mullins.
So then I go into the semifinals with him. And he actually does really well for me. And I make it to the finals against Mauricio.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But then the Vikings benched Mullins and brought in like a rookie to
you
play
had no quarterback.
So now I have to go pick up Bryce Young for the finals.
Oh.
So needless to say, Mauricio beat me pretty handily. I was like limping with, Chase not doing much. Jefferson didn't do anything. AJ Brown did. Raheem, I think, got hurt, and I don't think he played in that game. I was just decimated, and I lost to Mauricio, and I was so upset because I'm like, I had the team to crush all. All they had to do is stay healthy. Everybody stays healthy. There is no contest with this team. And
depressing.
Oh, that was just heart-wrenching.
In
fact, I was on last night with Tootsie Pop, Rachel.
Yeah.
And I was on her thing, and Mauricio comes on, and I go, "Oh, look, there's my least favorite person in fantasy football."
Oh my God.
Scott Fish freaked out. He goes, "Did you just say least?" I said, "Yes," because he took my damn King's Classic belt for me. And Gemma was on, and she points, "Oh, this one here." It was hurtful. They hurt me. Anyway, so
that was crazy.
Yeah.
I have a question for you as well. Like for the expo, you have two teams in King Classic. So there's the team that have a lot of people and kind of like celebrity on the side, and the other team that doesn't have the celebrities or Sirius XM with them. So who put Sirius XM in one place and not put Sirius XM in the other space? And why?
So first off, they can only be in one space.
So
when
does
the
this happen?
King's Classic was originally created, the idea was the one league was going to be every big name possible.
Yeah.
So we had Mike Clay, Bob Harris, Dave Richards, Andy Behrens, Brad Evans, Jeff Radcliffe. I'm missing somebody.
Mans.
And me, because I put it together, because that's the only way I could have drafted against all those great people. So that was. And then there was two others, Curtis Patrick from RotoViz, and there was somebody else because Dom came in later. But anyway, so that's right. We only had 12. We only had 12 the first year. So the idea was that was going to be like the A division, and then the B division was going to be like other people, still respectable, like Doug.
They are.
Somebody who's been in the business for a while. So Doug, I'm trying to remember everybody now. Darren Armani, Fantasy Mojo, who does, Pros versus Joes. See, Roto Ballers, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember them all. So that was the first year in SiriusXM. And then we only had enough room in the room inside the Hall of Fame, not the one we're doing it now, but originally, the Gold Jacket Lounge. There's only enough room for the drafters and SiriusXM. So the other league was right down the hall, and the idea was that the SiriusXM people would walk back and forth and interview for both, but they really didn't do that.
Yeah.
Now, due to relegations of people moving back and forth, our league now has Marcus Grant and, JJ Zachariason. And, so again, anybody who wins any of these things are still beating the best of the best,
right.
And now with so many people that kind of backed out this year and can't make it and rearranged, they're all pretty equal now. I mean, heck, in the online division now, because some people can't make it, is Mike Fabiano, Jeff Mans, Graham Barfield, hell, there's those three should be up the big boys, but So, the idea is that being side by side, and I think they do call people over, especially at lunchtime, like when we take a break, they'll grab a Marcus Grant or, somebody like that. And like, hey, how's your draft going? Now, when those guys are talking live on air, they have both of the draft boards going in front of them on a computer. So they know what's going on in the other room. And they'll say, hey, over here, Doug Orth, drafted this guy or paid $32 and over here it was $45. So they're using both. They're talking about both. They just can only be in one room. So that's just worked out that way.
Oh, I love listening to it. I've been listening to it every year. I love listening to it.
The first year we did it, so 2018, there was kind of like, okay, how's this going to go? We were the third highest trending hashtag during that day. And the only reason we were third was because freaking Josh Gordon got signed again by some team.
Okay.
So Twitter was blowing up because Josh Gordon was going to sign on another team that never played. But we were I was just like, we screenshotted. I remember screenshotting that on Twitter, like, oh my God, hashtag Kings Classic is trending, man. So we knew we had to hit at that point because, it was the best of the best. And, the reason why I put that together was not only because I wanted to be in it, but mostly because baseball been doing it for years. They have the Tout Wars and Labor, which is basically their Kings Classic for baseball. And in February or March that year, they were doing their draft in the Staten Island AAA Yankees locker room. And Sirius was broadcasting live from that. And I'm like, son of a bitch, why are they doing the cool drafts? We should do a cool draft. So I emailed Brad Evans, Mike Clay and Andy Behrens. And I'm like, hey, I got this idea. We need to have a best of best. Let's do it at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio, have Sirius XM come in. And what do you think? And Mike wrote back in like 5 minutes, but he forwarded an email that was a week old that he got from Brad Evans, who said, we should do a best of best draft. We just need a cool place to hold it.
Oh my God.
Solution found. And so, as they say, the rest is history. And I just said to those guys, you get Sirius XM there, I'll take care of everything on the ground in Canton. And it happened. So, and that's when we kind of had our first kind of, party that night at BW3s. And, we all met each other live for the first time. And it went so well. I just looked at the guys and I go, can we do this? Add a thing next year? Like some trade show booths and some panels. And go ahead. So we did.
And that was it. That's how it began.
Yeah. I mean, it was always in my head, but it was like, okay, now I got all the big shots coming to town. Why not use them for tomorrow? And so.
Bob, we can't believe it's 1 hour already. We don't want to finish this episode. But before I finish, I still have one question for you, and then I'll let Hope take us home. Okay. So I usually finish with a question that either I take a secret from you or you tell me something that nobody knows. So you either share with me something that you never shared with anyone else
about the expo or anything.
Who's coming to the expo that we might not heard about? So can you share something?
I wish there was somebody that I could. So we were very close to getting a gentleman named Peter Funt, Funt. And if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because his father was Alan Funt, who created Candid Camera.
Yep.
Wow.
And Peter reached out to me about 6 weeks ago and said, hey, I'm trying to find out who puts on this Fantasy Football Expo. And it was weird because I'm like, how did you get my email address? And he said, oh, I bought this consistency guide on Amazon and I was intrigued by it. And I saw the expo thing. So can you tell me who runs that?
That's sick.
Still me. And he's like, can we have a phone conversation the next night to talk? Because I'm writing a book about fantasy football. Kind of like the history, but it's not as like, it won't be the same as the Larry Schefter guy book. But he interviewed me and I'm in it. But he also took some of the pictures from it. And so there will be a picture in the book of this group of people drafting at Draft Night Out. It starts one of the chapters. I don't know who the guys are, but I saw the draft book, the PDF, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And now he's got me in it. I'm talking. It's the one where I'm kind of talking with the Friday night party thing above me. So yay me, I'm in. But yeah, I was like, oh, cool. And there's a lot of history stuff. He interviewed a lot of people from, Peter Overzet to Matthew Berry to, Mike Clay, all kinds of people. But yeah, so this book's coming out. And so Peter was going to try to come to the expo, but he's not going to make it. But no, I don't know any celebrities other than all of us. Bob Harris,
You're a celebrity. You're our celebrity.
Kind of. I'll take it.
Yeah, really cool. Hope, take us home.
So it was so beautiful hanging out with you. I cannot wait to meet you in person. I loved talking to you. I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
And I loved hanging out with you tonight. And it was a great night, my great first night.
Yeah, I'm excited to be on your rookie podcast. That's very cool.
9 days.
Can't wait for the expo. Cannot wait for the expo. So
9 days.
Everyone's freaking out. There's like chat groups. 9 days, 8 days. There's chat groups, expo chat groups.
They've been doing. JC's been doing countdowns since like 165 or something.
I agree. So, Bob, can you inform our audience of the way they can connect with you? How they can find you?
Sure. On Twitter at Bob_Lung. If you want to follow the expo as well, it's at the FF Expo. So definitely follow that as well. And for everybody out there going to the expo, make sure you use hashtag FF Expo 24 so we can keep all the pictures, videos, and everything together. Our goal is to try to collect as many of those as possible this year and save them and use them for hype videos and whatever else. But again, thank you, Carla. Thank you, Hope, for having me. Honored to be here and can't wait for next weekend.
Me too.
We can't wait to see you. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to everyone. Thank you so much. You want to say anything else, Hope?
Just thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in on my first night. We're going to have a lot of fun. Can't wait.
So tune in next week. We invite you to join us for the next episode of The Game Changers on Wednesday, July 7th. It's going to be before the expo, you guys. We're going to have... 7th. Yes. August 7th. Wait, it's not July. I'm still in July loop. July loop. Thank you, Bob. August 7th. August 7th. We're going to have Zach attack. I'm going to have a heart attack before that. Our special guest on August 7th. And we'll be talking about his latest book, The Cocktail Playbook.
I have it.
Didn't buy it, guys. You have to.
I've already bought it.
Yes, I did too. I did too.
Awesome.
A special acknowledgement is due to JC. He is really invaluable, and his invaluable contribution behind the scene. He's always behind the scene, helping us, putting all these little comments for us and engaging us with our viewers. Thank you, JC, for everything that you do. Your efforts are deeply appreciated. Don't forget to click follow. Click these likes, you guys. We can't wait to see you next week. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Hope. We love you. Have a great night. Bye, everyone.
Bye.